Slightly different day today. I'm going to go visit a friend who's also in property over in Manchester, a guy called Chris Ribeiro. He's doing incredible stuff. Been doing it for a long time, but effectively sources property for footballers because he used to be a pro footballer. He's found a real sweet spot and niche and does an amazing job, and also trades property for himself, and is profitable from that, and is doing awesome also with the UK. So I'm going over to see him. I last saw him about a year ago, and we said we were going to catch up every month. And obviously, time flies, people are busy, and we haven't had the chance. So, and one thing I was going to say again, following on sort of from my sort of anxiety and overwhelm type feelings that I've been having, I've almost like I almost put it off. Like almost like it's not always the easiest thing to do is to try and meet up with a friend who's busy. Like, oh, this time, that place. And like this time, I was like almost like, oh, let's just leave it and maybe we'll have a Zoom or just, and it never comes round. And sometimes I feel like, oh, the anxiety of even meeting people is just like, it's a strange feeling for me. I'm trying to push myself out of my comfort zone, and I suppose it is a comfort zone, and go do stuff, go meet people, go to networking events and go say hello. I feel like everybody's had a lot of difficult stuff in life, but I've had a really sort of challenging couple of years, both personally and in business. And it's not my confidence in terms of wanting to speak to people or even wanting to get out of the house. Everything's so comfortable here. I've got good coffee. I've got a nice place to sit and work. But I know that won't move the needle forward in my business, and certainly meeting up with people I know are doing great things is also quite helpful. I've been laying awake probably about 4 o'clock in the morning recently, and then never really going back to sleep until we get up at 5, half 5. There's just loads of stuff going around in my head. And then again, it feeds back into this sort of common theme that I'm talking about, this sort of like overwhelmed sort of thing. I mix up like having some really good ideas in business along with overthinking the worries that I've got and bills I've got to pay and struggles you have. Some of it's a bit upsetting at times, like none of it's easy. I suppose anything you run your own business. I feel property is really difficult at the moment. Everything has its challenges. I presume that's all business. Speaking to a friend who's a solicitor the other day, and he's saying clients are hard, tax issues are hard, the government's hard. Like it is, nothing's sort of easy, but I sort of worry about those bits in and amongst all of it. So yeah, laid awake even like thinking about what content I'm going to do for social media. Like it's just like I put out a video yesterday which I actually really liked. I thought it was quite good, quite handy. It got like no views, bombed, no likes, nothing really. And I see people doing really well on, and I know socials is a bit vanity, right? But also it's quite important for my business. So it's, you can't worry about what sort of people, about the views and the likes. I get that, but also I'm putting loads of time and money into socials at the moment. And I say social marketing, and for it to not work then is really sort of quite disheartening. And I suppose my point of theory is I see lots of people that do really well on it, and I'm like, what have they got or what have they done that's different to me? Now I know some of it's consistency, and I've only been sort of staying consistent I have done for the last 8 months maybe, but I do a fair amount of research into stuff. Like I don't just post for the sake of posting. We're sort of like trying to work out what works. I'll be back. I suppose it is frustrating when stuff doesn't work and you're trialing and going it, and I feel like I'm a bit of a hamster wheel at the moment where running regularly and fast and getting nowhere forward. I had this feeling yesterday, I had it all week really, where nothing seems to be progressing at any pace. And sometimes you've got to sort of like zoom out and go, how much further are you than last year or whatever it is? But it feels slow and frustrating. And yeah, when stuff doesn't stick or take off or work, I'm like, I feel a little bit despondent and a bit disheartened with it all. I've been doing like a LinkedIn cohort, like sort of trying to learn a little bit more about LinkedIn and just socials in general. It's led into sort of Instagram and marketing and email marketing. There's people that have absolutely smashed it, and they've probably put a little bit more focus in than I have, like a few hours a day as opposed to just like maybe 45 minutes or an hour a day. And I can't spread myself too thin, so I probably need to be a bit kinder when I think about that. But like people getting like millions of followers, like how, why? Like, and we've been doing really similar stuff, and it's and hopefully some consistency will do that, and a little bit of learning what works. I spend a lot of time on social media at the moment trying to work out what is working and what people like. And I don't know whether that time at times gives me anxiety, because you sort of see people doing really well, you see their videos, the production and what they do and the effort, and then the sort of likes and follows off the back of it, and you're like, fuck, I've got a long way to go, and I don't know if that's just overwhelming. I've got a couple of mates who do streetwear called Baggies TV, and they've smashed it. Like in the last 18 months, they've grown to like 60,000 followers, launched a jean brand, sold out, like just fucking smashed it. Like switched on to like what works, good guys. But like, look at those, like they've just done it for 18 months and absolutely killed it. Like, how do you get to that? Am I doing something too niche? Am I not doing very, very well? And I suppose putting these videos out there to sort of try and see if it resonates with anybody or get anything back from it, I suppose. It feels like a bit of a journal now, and I need to journal more, which probably will help my anxiety and the thoughts that spin around in my head. But this feels like a little bit of a journal in terms of how we're going to go about it. I probably need to do more than just my personal rants and whinges about how I feel, but I want to do... I'll show you a little bit more about what goes on in life. I never feel like it's that exciting. But I'll probably have some musings or some thoughts from today after speaking to Chris of where people are in a similar boat. But I'm hoping something sticks and really takes off one day. You know, you just feel like you're due a little bit of luck. I suppose that everybody probably feels like that. But we've certainly been putting the work in, I think. And we'll see how we get on from there. Out for now.